Susan, I appreciate you talking with us today, and I'd like for you, if you could, just tell us a little bit about Keaton's story and how God has been using you and the despair that you've experienced, that we've all experienced, but especially you and your family, Tim and Ella, about when we got the call on June 10th, 2019.
No, I was sitting at home and I got the phone call from Keaton's girlfriend's telephone, and it was an officer. And he said that Keaton had been involved in an overdose. So I don't know how my husband didn't drive, but he tried to drive and I pushed him out of the way and was just screaming. Anyway, I got up to the McDonald's up north of town, and by then, the ambulances and fire trucks and stuff were already there. And it is kind of crazy how God knew that I needed somebody there. And 3 pastors from my church happened to be in a car driving around, test driving a car, or someone had just gotten a car, and they were probably 3 or 4 blocks from McDonald's. So I called Linda and she said, I'll be right there. And all 3 of them pulled up in the car, and I just remember banging on the door and screaming. I saw him laying on the floor of the men's bathroom, and I just remember screaming, banging on the door and saying, this is my only son, this is my firstborn. And I started screaming out his name, and I did find out later that one of the firemen that had been working on him for about 45 minutes was married to one of Keaton's teachers. And he had no idea at the time, but he told someone that after I got there and started screaming out his name, that Keaton's heart came back. And he said he never really understood the power of a mother's love until then, because he saw it with his eyes. He said, I've been working on him for 45 minutes and there was no way and no logical reason for his heart to start beating again until his mom showed up. So, long story short, went to the hospital, and he had been, he was brain dead. I saw the x-ray, and I just started, telling them, please don't turn off the machines because he's an organ donor. So he was transported to Forsyth Medical Center, and about 2 days later, I guess, he was taken off life support, and his organs were harvested. He donated 8 organs, and they were flown to Duke Medical Center, and there were people there there were 3 people there that received his organs. So that's a sad, horrible thing, but again, it turns out that 3 people's lives were changed. We found out later that the older man that got Keaton's heart passed away about 3 months later due to other things. There is another gentleman that's about 35 now, I guess, that has received his pancreas and a kidney. He has not chosen to get in touch with me, but I have really become great friends with the person who got his liver and his kidney, and she's alive today because he was an organ donor. She is an advocate for organ donation. She is an ambassador. She works within the Donate Life organization, and we go around and speak at different events and things, and she is just wonderful. And hopefully we are both changing people's lives because we are talking to kids about organ donation. We're talking to other people about organ donation and showing them things. We're actually saying, we start with the message that you can't do drugs and what drugs actually do to you and your family. And we end up with, if you're going to decide to do these drugs, that you need to do something so your parents will be able to make it through your death by donating your organs to help someone live a better life. So we've really done that. We've also started Keaton's Place, which has been something wonderful that has just come out of a horrible, horrible tragedy. And, I like to think that we are sort of a light for people that are in darkness because of addiction. Any kind of addiction is horrible. It's hard to deal with. People think they're alone. And a lot of the times when they talk to me on the phone or they come over and talk to us at Keaton's Place, they understand they're not by themselves, and there is someone that will not judge them. And, because a lot of times the families have had enough. They've kicked them out of the house. They're hungry. They come by, they see the birdhouse. They can get food in the birdhouse. They can get mittens and little hats and things that people have donated. And they're so appreciative. They can come in for a cup of coffee. And a lot of the times this leads to us actually taking them to detox to try to get their life started over again. So I'm just hoping that Keaton's proud of what we're doing. I don't want him to ever be ashamed that people knew he had a drug problem, because he was a good boy. He was a great kid, very loving and caring. That's why I feel like that we are doing the right thing, because I know in his heart he would want us to help people, even though it exposed a dark side of him that he was so ashamed of. And he hated the drug use. And he was so ashamed because he couldn't beat it. So I know we're doing what we're supposed to do. And that horrible, horrible thing has turned into a light for so many others, that we are trying to take the stigma off of the drug use, where people look down on them and think that they're horrible people, and they're not, because it can happen to anybody's family, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. You just got to reach out and help. They won't help, but we're here to help them. And that's kind of how I've turned this horrible tragedy into something that I know God is leading this. And I know that Linda knows. He's been tugging on me a long time, and I kept saying, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I'm too old to start something new. I don't want to do this. But there's been so many people reaching out to me, asking about their own family members, that I guess I'm saving a lot of money on therapy, because this is my therapy. Helping other people is my therapy.
Susan, tell us a little bit about Cains Cakes.
Cains Cakes has, that it kind of came out of Keaton going to rehab. So when he went to rehab in Asheville, he was sort of the cook of the house. And they would get these little Albertsons gift cards, for their grocery store allowance. And I had printed out all Keaton's favorite recipes, all the stuff that he loved to cook. So I was trying to put extra money on his grocery card so that he could cook really good things for the rest of the house. And so I started baking cakes and selling them. And after Keaton passed, it was probably about 2 months after he passed, someone texted me and said, I hope it's not too soon, but are you still baking those cakes? and I thought, no, I don't need the money like that anymore. I don't really have any money that I need to, no, I just don't want to do that either, And people just started calling, and I continued to bake, and we turned our third garage into a licensed kitchen, and now I love being in the kitchen. and we donate a portion of the profits from Keaton's Cakes actually back into Keaton's place. We do donate a lot of cakes. We do a lot of bereavement cakes. We do a lot for auctions and different things like that when people call and need donations. So it's just a ministry that I love, that keeps me sane as well, and it keeps a lot of people happy. But Keaton loved these cakes, and when he was in Asheville, I took some to the staff there, and Keaton was like the most popular client up there because they loved these pound cakes. So that's kind of what me and Ella do, just to spend time together and talk about Keaton and look at his picture. He's got lots of stuff up in the bakery, and it's just a good time for us to spend together, for Ella and I to be together.
So Keaton's death has been more than difficult, and brought you and Tim and Ella and myself, others, all of Keaton's friends, the church, everybody into great despair. But you are a shining example of how God can take a tragedy and take despair, instead of making the choice to live in that despair, instead to trust God.
Absolutely. And you were with me whenever they were taking him to the elevator, remember?
Mm-hmm.
They were rolling him onto the elevator to take him to harvest his organs. And I remember when the doors closed, I just felt this overwhelming sense of, I couldn't even describe it to you.
Right.
And you said, I said, Linda, I just feel like this overwhelming, weight, and I feel like he's free and he's not having to worry and hurt and all this. And you said, I told you. I said, yes, you did, but I can't explain it. She said, nobody really knows how to explain it, but don't you feel it? I said, I do feel it. It was like his spirit had just lifted up. And the signs that I get from him are crazy, because I usually tell you about every sign I get, but sometimes it's like I feel more connected with him now than I did when he was on this earth, because he speaks to me in so many ways. And every time he speaks to me, I'll cry, and Ella says, Mom, why do you keep crying? Because he does it all the time. I said, I know, but it just reminds me that he's here and he's playing these little jokes on me, because I'll ask for something and 3 days later it shows up right in front of my face. I mean, over and over and over. So I know he's with me. I know he's proud of what we're doing. And, I'm just thankful that I get to say his name every day. I get to say his name every day.
So the drug addiction does not define Keaton.
No.
What defines Keaton is this,
Yeah.
is his legacy, the love that he shared while he was here, the love that he continues to share,
Yes.
the compassion and such a giving heart.
Yeah.
So we continue to pray for you, we continue to support you, and we are here for you and for Tim and Ellen, for all of your family and all of his friends. We continue to give God great praise for
Yes.
Keaton's life.
Yes.
And for the life that continues on
Yes.
this day and forever.
The drug addiction was this part
That's right.
of this life.
Such a big heart.
He was an awesome kid.
Yes, he was.
Awesome kid.
Yes. And his
Thank you.
legacy continues.
Yes.
Through the work that you are doing to bring glory to God and in memory of Keaton.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So Susan, is there something that we can do to help support Keaton's Place as you're doing this good work?
We absolutely love to be in everyone's prayers. We see this addiction every day. We're dealing with people every day that are going through horrible addiction issues. Parents, children. We have hired a staff member, Chip Womack, as our new operational service director. And we're hoping that with his guidance too, we're going to be able to bring some other things other programs, lots more educational opportunities for the community. And if anybody needs to get rid of a little bit of money, I promise you it will be well spent. You can donate on the website. We are a 501c3 certified nonprofit, and we do have tax receipts for everyone who'd like to give. But we certainly appreciate that, because there are things that we have to buy, and because of COVID, we haven't been able to have fundraisers quite yet. So, and if we do have fundraisers, hopefully you'll support those as well. But just keep us in our prayers, and let us know that that you're cheering for us.